Consider then the moon in the sky. Consider the ants and consider the birds. Can't you see, without me sounding too wild, but can't you see that it's all in like this weird, perfect order? Have you ever look at like trash, like just like a garbage bin, and then look how the ants go in and clean it and eat the food so there's nothing left to waste. If you throw a piece of bread on the ground, look how it's cleaned up by nature itself. It's all in working order for us to observe it. But what's fascinating, isn't it, that humans, we make plastic, we make junk food, and then the animals, they don't eat it. So we've been tricked so much to not even listen to our body, where we eat garbage, we use things that are actually not good for us, that's harming ourselves. And if you just observe what nature uses, you'll observe that you probably shouldn't be touching certain things. We harm ourselves, and this is something to do with what humans do. Maybe it's possible then, if you go back into Surah Baqarah, which I won't paraphrase because actually I wanted to use it for something else, but I know that humans, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, but humans can be either higher than the angels depending on deeds, or lower than the devils depending on deeds. So really, it just depends on what you do, and how you want to live this life. While you're here and contemplating, wouldn't it be interesting if you can contemplate how you should live a better life, just so you can live a pure life? What's better? What's better than contemplating on how you can live a better life? What's better than reflecting on how you can treat your family better, on how you can treat your friends better? The other day, it's Mother's Day in Canada. I don't know if it's Mother's Day where everybody is, but it's Mother's Day in Canada. And I thought to myself, like, what a blessing it is just to be here. Do the animals think like that? Can the animals think about the future? But we can. And it's fascinating that the future can give us anxiety too. And at the same time, we're so arrogant to think we have control. We don't even have control over our own minds. When a thought comes into your head, you're listening to it. So again, who's the listener? And did you control that thought coming into your head? But yet, if you talk to an atheist, they'll say, my mother created me. And you would say, well, how did your mother get created? And they'd say, my grandmother. And then you go back and forth. And they'll say the Big Bang. And then you say, okay, well, what happened before the Big Bang? I don't know. Well, at least the atheists, I think they need one miracle to be an atheist. So the Quran says, I'm skipping ahead, but I'm replying to a comment in here. The Quran says in chapter 52, Surah 52, ayah 35. Or were they created by nothing? Or are they their own creators? What can you even create? You can't even stay awake for 3 days. You can't even go 2 days without eating a meal. But yet, the human being, one of our biggest flaws, the human, us, is that we always think that we're smarter than we are. So we fall in love with ourselves. We fall in love with our own intellectuality. One of the things about polygamists is, like, for example, I don't believe in atheists. I don't believe that they exist, because an atheist has to have a hierarchy of values, a hierarchy of beliefs, and then that thing represents as their God. But one thing is that people believe in themselves. So be like, I did it. Well, what did you do? What could you have controlled? For me, for example, if I wasn't born into a nice family and I didn't have a good education and I wasn't safe, would I even be able to do this? Would I have control over my tongue? You can be intelligent but not even know what you're saying. Have you ever seen somebody that loses their temper? Or have you ever lost your temper? How much control do we really have? It seems like we don't have much. So then the weird question is, okay, well, then how do you become moral? Maybe it's a practice. Maybe it's a practice to know what you should do, know what's on the straight path, and then continue trying to aim up. What it seems like that the Quran is telling me so far is this is how you should live, and you should aim up. And if you aim up, the creator of the universe has your back. So just keep aiming up. But the strange thing is that you'll never get there, right? You can never be a god, which forces at the same time for you to be humble and be thankful. Weird. Food for thought. Thanks for listening.